If I go out there and I 4,000 people in a war, or if I even 50,000 people in a war, okay?
Yeah, who cares at that point?
Put 50,000 next to the number of people that die from starvation, from lack of health care, from austerity, right?
Yes.
Libertarians preach nonstop austerity, nonstop murder. They are the biggest effing murderers on the planet. And then they talk about war, and that's their air cover for non-intervention. You'll understand that it's air cover for austerity as well, because they consider government spending intervention as well, and they consider taxation theft. So these fucksticks go out there and literally kill more people, and then they get, we're anti-war. But remember why we're going to war. Remember the why. If you get the why,
resources.
You understand that it's about resources and austerity. And they're creating the very condition that requires us to go to war. So it's like an oxymoron. Former libertarian. I mean, straight up Murray Rothbard, Ron Paul. I fought tooth and nail for Ron Paul. I am a former libertarian that gets them inside and out, baby. I don't have it at this particular desk, but I have my creature from Jekyll Isle waiting for any moment just to snap out on people. I am telling you, as a person that escaped the clutches of libertarianism, I am telling you right now, this is why I left the cult of libertarianism. They are as destructive an entity as anything, and they're corrosive because they go into the Republican Party and they say, see, we get along on these ideas, and they go, and they pollute them. And then they get along with the left. They say, see, we get along on these ideas, and then they pollute them with the austerity narrative, and they keep it going. They are responsible for more death, being a party that has no power. They're not in power. Unlike the Greens, who have absolutely no impact on the political process. Libertarians have infiltrated every aspect of it, going back to Milton Friedman, and Paul Ryan was a king libertarian. All these folks literally are libertarians. And they are destructive forces. Now, I'm not telling you that they're beyond reaching. I mean, Christ, I was once a libertarian. Libertarians preach nonstop austerity, nonstop murder. They are the biggest effing murderers on the planet. So these fucksticks go out there and literally kill more people. Why did you say that? The cult of libertarianism. They are as destructive an entity as anything.
Okay, I know that was wild. That was Steve Grumbine on Friend of Show with Generational Change, Peter Hager, Jen Perlman, shout out to them. They have great discussions, and this is a good discussion, believe it or not. I know where he's coming from. It took me a while. It took me aback at first, but he also referred to Paul Ryan as a libertarian.
Going back to Milton Friedman, and Paul Ryan was it?
We must clarify these definitions. I don't know if Paul Ryan was a libertarian in another life, but the Paul Ryan that I'm aware of, the Paul Ryan that had power, there was no libertarian in his philosophy at all. But libertarianism, by my definition, is probably not, well, I know for a fact it's not the same as Steve. My definition of libertarianism, this is a general definition, is the philosophy of maximizing peace, the opportunity for prosperity, and decentralization. That's what that's all what I mean by when I say libertarianism. I'm in the libertarian wing of the MAGA party. I'm in the MAGA wing of the Libertarian Party. That's what I mean, is that I like that philosophy. Obviously, Steve and I talk about the same thing. Here's what, so Steve has become, looks like, I don't know him very well, real progressive, sounds like he's way, way populist left. But that's fine. I like working with the populist. Jen and Peter are populist left. They talk with people, they work with people, they respect people. So here's where the problem is. What rubs the populist left the wrong way about the idea of libertarianism is that they feel like it's a savage philosophy. It's basically every man for himself is how they view it. You've got to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. There's no big government to dole out money to the people who need it. That's why they think it's a bad philosophy. They are right in a way, because that is nature. A crippled antelope or whatever animal, you know, those deer type animals that lions chase down. If you're sick, if you're hurt, you're the one that gets eaten by the lion. But that's life. That's nature. That's not a libertarian stance. That's God's stance. What they don't understand, though, is that anything the government does, a private company can do, or a group of random people can get together and do it by themselves. There's nothing the government does that we need. So if you want to do universal basic income, you can go ahead, go live in a community with, and I believe in universal basic income. I'm not going to sidetrack on that. I don't believe in it with a government like we have now that is untrustworthy. But in general, as a concept, yes, you could get together in a community of people. Libertarians would say, hey, go find you a community, a state, a city where it's 100 of y'all. Y'all chip money in. It's voluntary. It's not forced. Otherwise, that would be pretty much close to tax. And you redistribute your wealth. If you want to live in a commune, you can. Libertarians have no problem with you doing that. Anything that you want the government to do can be done without the government. That's where they lose. That's why he's so mad.
And they consider taxation theft. So these fucksticks go out there.
And it's funny, he said he was a former libertarian.
This is why I left the cult of libertarianism.
There's no group of people in this world that are more authoritarian than a former libertarian. Nick Fuentes is a former libertarian. Charlie Kirk is a former libertarian. Steve Crowder, Alex Jones. I like all those guys I just mentioned, but they are very authoritarian. And this Steve Grumbine is clearly very authoritarian, very much wants concentrated power. Here's my end. Here's the sad part of it. He actually acknowledged that libertarians never had power.
They are responsible for more death being a party that has no power. They're not in power. Being a party that has no power. They're not in power.
How are you accusing them of being unliving machines responsible for people not living, but they never had power? People will do mental gymnastics to avoid working with each other. That's what it is. And Steve Grumbine has gone to the populist left, and he's become a part of the populist left that likes to gatekeep. They're more about gatekeeping. That's why me and Caitlin Johnstone, as great as she is with her writing and a lot of her work, and I don't know what her husband does, it's a team of people, it's her and her husband, as great as they are, the beef that I have is that when we agree, like when MAGA agrees, she won't agree with it. She'll say it's a grift, it's a lie. But your grift, your lie is just gatekeeping, like I'm the one that has the answers. That's why Steve had to say multiple times, well, it wasn't, libertarians didn't have any power, but what they do is they infiltrate the right. They infiltrate these other groups.
And they're corrosive because they go into the Republican Party and they say, see, we get along on these ideas. And they go, and they pollute them. And then they get along with the left. They say, see, we get along on these ideas. And then they pollute them with the austerity narrative.
No. What's happening there, Steve? Let's be real. What's happening is that your philosophy of acquiring power and giving it to a central person or organization to be benevolent, that idea doesn't spread because it's a bad idea. The libertarians have the right ideas. And you infuse that so people want good ideas. That's why you hear Steve Bannon and the Fed.
We don't need to audit the Fed. We need to end the Federal Reserve.
Libertarians have got the right answers. They've got the right ideas. There's different types of libertarians, but generally speaking, that's why I rock with them. So don't be butthurt. Don't be hurt that libertarians have good philosophies that other people want to work with or adapt or steal. And you being so passionate about giving the government power so they can crush us, and then calling the people libertarians who have the answer, calling them the problem of people dying, that is not a good idea. Nobody wants to steal that idea from you, Steve. That's why people steal the ideas of libertarians. And that's why the credible libertarians are perfectly happy with you stealing their ideas. And I'm going to end with one last thing. If I am ever that passionate about something with a take that bad, somebody cut off my internet. Take care.